He's back!
Washington. Who's still on Washington's team? They were saying it's Reasons Draymond punched him in his face. He told Draymond.
That's crazy.
Then he told Draymond, why is your Twitter handle Money Green when you broke?
So, Draymond got his money and even took a pay cut essentially. So, I guess thank you, Draymond. Yeah, thank you for punching Jordan Poole. A very team-friendly deal that opens up more opportunities now and in the future, essentially with Chris Paul's expiring deal and everything. The Warriors will have more room to maneuver essentially with this Draymond deal, and he gets his 4 years, so I think it evens out. We'll see if he accepts his player option for the 4th year, if he leaves the money on the table to retire as he wanted to. We'll see what happens there, but that's obviously down the line, and it's great that we are locked up with this core for these next 3 to 4 years, where Anthony Slater, a very respected reporter that is pretty much one of the biggest reporters for the Warriors, said that they plan to compete with this core throughout these next 4 years, 3 to 4 years. And I'm obviously very excited because, of course, you know, I can't wait to see more championships. Now, I just hope, you know, it's way less drama than that was this year. And if that is the case, then I'll be obviously a much happier man. There are also a lot of reports about Dario Saric going to the Warriors, which should be happening eventually. Nothing is official though, and it did quiet down. It pretty much felt like a done deal before, you know, the trade, before the free agency began, but then there was quiet on that front. Maybe it has something to do with Jock Landale being available now. We'll see what happens there. Of course, the Warriors will take their time with these moves because they have just, you know, pretty much the minimums to operate with, so it makes sense that there are no imminent signings in this free agency. And why am I making this video separately and not just a part of the day one free agency recap that I might do, I might not do, we'll see what I do with that. Because I want to talk about the beginning of the video and the stuff that came out just yesterday, I'm pretty sure. Logan Murdoch, a pretty respected reporter, talked about this last season and the aftermath of the Jordan Poole punch, and apparently Clay had a problem with Jordan Poole's shooting, even though it feels like he always talked about it ironically, but maybe he genuinely had a problem with it, which would be just an absurd self-awareness thing, but I hope that's not true. But at the end of the day, I guess we'll know when the documentary releases in like, I don't know, 10 to 15 years. Then Draymond had a problem with the aftermath of the punch because he lost his voice, which I'm staring at this like, are you serious, man?
This is not serious, right?
I love you, man, but you're not a serious person.
Steph tried to keep it together apparently, but of course these core guys were with Draymond, and it makes sense even though it doesn't make sense to me on a human level because Draymond just did something wrong. But maybe Poole did say something just completely out of bounds that you would be like, okay, I understand it. But what that could be, something related to Draymond's family, something, I don't know, I genuinely don't know. I would assume that it would have to be with his family for, you know, me to accept it as a human that he just sucker punched him last year. But we just will never know unless the documentary comes out, you know, in those next 10 to 15 years and they'll talk about it. God knows what the deal would have been if Draymond just got suspended, but they didn't want to ruin the vibes of the ring ceremony and everything. Who knows, maybe if he had gotten suspended, everything would have turned out completely differently, but that's what ifs, and we don't play in what ifs. And Logan Murdoch also said that Jordan Poole pretty much lost trust within the organization and around him, and the only guys he could trust was Andrew Wiggins and Kevon Looney, which is just sad, and I hope, you know, Poole is doing alright. As I talked about, I'll be rooting for the Wizards, honorary Wizards fan next year. Kuzma and Poole will make the playoffs, count them in. And we can't know if these reports are true. The reports about him saying to Draymond he is going to be in Sacramento next year, and that why is his handle Money Green if he is broke. I just so much hope he said this, but there is not a chance that is true in my opinion. But why your handle Money Green when you broke is, hey man, I hope Poole did this. and I still don't think that warrants a punch, but hey, what can you do? If the Warriors win another one with Draymond, Steph and Clay and now Chris Paul, hey, this will not be forgotten per se, but it will be much smaller and, you know, the impact of it will be much smaller. And the Jordan Poole contract, when you look at the contracts that were around the league, this, you know, free agency and the cap space pretty much should be going even much higher, up to like, I'm pretty sure 170 million. And now it's 136, I'm pretty sure. So the Jordan Poole contract will look only better in hindsight, and hopefully both sides prosper now. And you could say the Warriors don't deserve to prosper with how they handled it, but as a fan I hope they prosper, of course. And Steve Kerr apparently also will get a 2 to 3 year extension, as he is now entering his final year of his deal to match the contract with the core, so they can ride into the sunset together. And Draymond apparently with a new contract and Jordan Poole not there essentially, I suppose, should be way more coachable and locked in per these reports. So God, I hope so, man. Draymond, work on your offense, man. You're an NBA player, you're a legend, you're a great defensive player, one of the all-time greats, but I still feel like when KD got here, he just got lazy on the offensive end and overall, and he masks it as high IQ. But that's just me. I don't play the game, and he's much more, you know, knowledgeable overall, but it still feels like it's, you know, maybe his high IQ just gives him the excuse also, right? Maybe he genuinely believes it, and sometimes your high IQ could also be to your detriment. Just like a lot of people say that when you're smart, you suffer the most for some reason, because you know, put more things together and everything. I don't know where I'm going with this.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
To conclude all of this, am I happy with the way this stuff untangled was handled? Not really, but at the end of the day, the core is together and the Warriors have a shot at winning, and Chris Paul will get his ring. Share your thoughts if you want, be kind to yourself, to your mind and to others. Love.
Fun times ahead.